Some NBA players from the last pick of the NBA draft end up being an NBA legend, while other NBA players, is being drafted during the commercials, end up being the NBA champion with the final MVP. These are the biggest draft steals in NBA history. 1. Nikola Jokic. First off, we have one of the biggest steals, Nikola Jokic. We have to admit the Denver Nuggets had found the most stolen pick ever in the history of the drafts. Did you know? Even the dude was sleeping like a baby during the 2014 NBA draft until his brother Nemanja woke him up with some big news. See, Nikola was the 41st pick, and he was picked during the Taco Bell ad.
Two things you only dreamed would come together.
But nobody was really tripping about it first. Like, he wasn't exactly a superstar in Europe, and his body type had some folks raising eyebrows. But hey, it took 4 seasons and an incredible postseason performance against the San Antonio Spurs. This dude is straight up unguardable. And we're not just talking about his hygiene game. But hey, sometimes it's the underdogs who surprise us, right? Like Marc Gasol, who wasn't exactly a Greek god when he picked up late in the draft, but he turned himself into a legend. Eventually, this pick changed the whole franchise from the normal team ending up being the NBA champion. Great journey, Jokic. Number 2, Ginobili. But when you go back 15 years, there was a pick that also changed the franchise forever. In 1999, the San Antonio Spurs made a move. They snagged Manu Ginobili with the 57th overall pick in the draft.
Years, I was still in Reggio Calabria. One time I was playing with the national team.
The director of scouting, R.C. Bufford, first laid eyes on Ginobili at the FIBA World Championships.
Ranked by Spain, and you just wonder if we're watching the end of a dynasty right now.
For men under 22 in Australia. After 3 whole seasons of loitering in Europe, Ginobili finally made his way to the Spurs, but not only until he was 25. This man was a straight-up carry his team, winning the EuroLeague championship in 2001, and being the top goal scorer, not once, but twice. Oh, and let's not forget when he helped Argentina score a W against the United States at the FIBA World Championships in 2002. From 2004 to 05 to 2010 to 11, Ginobili was unstoppable with an average of 16.8 points, 3.4 rebounds, and 4.2 assists. He even scored 2 All-NBA third-team nods and helped the Spurs grab 4 championships. Man, it's almost like the Spurs made the easiest decision ever when they drafted this legend. Number 3, Jimmy Butler. Usually, after the first round pick, the draft usually doesn't amount to much. In most cases, that's where the team with the previous season's best record makes its first round selection. But then, there's this man who came along and changed the game. His name is Jimmy Butler. Suddenly, being the 30th pick didn't seem like much of a curse anymore. It was like winning the lottery, but instead of cash, you get a basketball player with the heart of a lion. And man, Butler did roar. Being an NBA All-Star and playing in the NBA Finals, that's what Jimmy Butler proved. Number 4, Tony Parker. 2 years after Ginobili was drafted, San Antonio Spurs hit the back-to-back jackpot by picking Tony Parker with the last pick in 2001 NBA Draft. The Spurs found Manu Ginobili with the second-to-last pick back in '99, and then they hit the jackpot again 2 years later with Parker. Parker may not have been a dominating player, but he was the leader of a team that consistently threatened to win the title.
Their defense has been superb. Parker gets inside again, count it,
and did I mention, his stats weren't too shabby either. He's only one of 5 players in NBA history to have over 19,000 points and 7,000 assists. Take that, Kirk Haston, Joe Forte, Gerald Sasser, and Brandon Armstrong. All the guys who were drafted before Parker. So, let's raise a glass of that fine wine Parker's like and cheers to a career well played. And to those future draft picks out there, remember, with the last pick, anything is possible. 5. Isaiah Thompson. Do you know there was a last draft pick eventually became the NBA legend himself? Talking about basketball, he's like a little basketball wizard, standing at a towering 5'9" and being picked dead last in the 2011 NBA Draft. And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, there was an NBA lockout that summer, so he couldn't even prove himself during the Summer League. Perhaps the only person who had faith in Isaiah Thompson was Isaiah Thompson himself. But fast forward 6 years, and this little guy has climbed his way to the top. He's now a 2-time NBA All-Star and a superstar for the Boston Celtics. Oh, and did I mention he's been dubbed the King of the Fourth? Yeah, that's right. This guy is clutch. And let's be real, short jokes aside, we all wish we could ball like Isaiah Thompson. 6. Draymond Green. When talking about the Golden State Warriors, we all know about Steph Curry, Klay Thompson with their miraculous threes on the court. But there's a guy. He's a guardian of Golden Bridge, no other than Draymond Green. But he came from the biggest steal of the Warrior when he was 35th pick in 2012. Draymond Green has been special, outperforming all draft expectations. The Michigan State product was skipped over by every team before the Warriors used their third selection on him. He said on his podcast, joined by the Warriors star Stephen Curry for this episode, that the Pacers made a promise to him, along with a few other teams. I had a promise from Indiana, he said. I had a promise that if I was still there, Memphis would take me. Miami would take me. All these that told me if I was still there, they would take me. None of them did. My man is now 4-time NBA All-Star and continues on his way to the best defensive player of all time. 7. Kawhi Leonard. The Spurs may have the whole squad with the biggest steals because there are so many great players was from the team. One of them is Kawhi Leonard. The reason Kawhi Leonard feels like such a steal is that he was traded on draft night. The Indiana Pacers picked him at number 15 before realizing they needed to trade him and 2 international prospects to the Spurs for George Hill. Ouch, that's hurt. And while Hill turned out to be okay for Indiana, it's safe to say they're still kicking themselves over that move. But Kawhi proved them all wrong. With his incredible defensive skills, he led the league in steals per game in 2014-15, won the Defensive Player of the Year award, and then won it again the next season. Talk about a defensive powerhouse. Not bad for a guy who's practically given away on draft night, right? 8. Dennis Rodman. I'll tell you guys this story. So roll back to the 80s. Lon Reisman was scouting out at Cook County Community College, watching some basketball practice as you do. He was on the hunt for some fresh talent to bring to the Southeast and Oklahoma State when he spotted a real gem of a player. There's a man, Dennis Rodman, was a freak of nature, super tall and could jump higher than a flea on a trampoline. He had such crazy skills in dribbling and seemed to dominate, which wasn't saying much, but still impressive nonetheless. Reisman wanted to find out more about him, but for some reason, he didn't even try to win over the 21-year-old Dallas kid. Maybe he was intimidated by Rodman's hair, who knows? All we know is that he missed out on a great opportunity to snag a fantastic player, and the rest is history. After being drafted in the second round of the 1986 NBA draft, the late bloomer became an NBA champion, All-Star, and Defensive Player of the Year in Motor City. Bonus, Marc Gasol. For the last pick, we have Marc Gasol on the line. We all know that Marc Gasol has been living in the shadow of his superstar big brother Pau, but basically a unicorn in the NBA world. Rookie of the Year, 6-time All-Star, multiple championships, averaging 17 points a game. Pau's got it all. But let's give Marc a break. If we compare him to an average basketball player, Pau should be banned, guys.
On the turnover, Gasol switching hands on the dribble, kicks all the way.
As we can see that Marc is actually pretty damn impressive, the Memphis Grizzlies must have been hitting the jackpot when they snagged him at the 48th pick in the 2007 draft. During his 11 seasons with the Grizzlies, Marc may have not hit those stats, 20 points or 10 rebounds a game, but he was consistently above league averages. He went from hitting just 12 free-pointers in his first 8 years to nailing 104 in the 2016-17 season with a 38.8% success rate. If you liked the video, make sure to smash the like and subscribe button below and comment down below the topics that you want to hear about next. Until next time, peace out.